If we provided guaranteed high-quality health care for everyone, it would be $14.50 a day for outpatient mental health care services. That's right. I've been Texas. I know Texas because I've listened to Texas on this one. It's going to be the state, and they will not see it coming from us, right? They don't expect this from us. It's going to be the state that will lead on guaranteed, high-quality, universal health care for every child, for every woman, for every man, in every single community, regardless of circumstance, fortune, or fate. We make sure all of us are well enough to live to our full potential. And yes, that's going to mean primary health care, specialty health care. It's going to mean mental health care, and also it's going to mean that every single woman makes her own decisions about her own body. Do I have any friends from El Paso, Texas? So all three of you know what I'm talking about. Our community, connected, conjoined to Ciudad Juarez, forming the largest binational community anywhere in this hemisphere, perhaps in the world. 3 million from Mexico, from the US, speaking Spanish, speaking English, joined, not separated by the Rio Grande River, forming something far greater, far more powerful, more magical than the sum of their parts or their people. Ciudad Juarez is the first place that I took Amy on our first date, a blind date pre-Tinder. Like any good El Paso boy would do, picked her up from the home that she was staying at in El Paso, where she was not from, a city that she did not know well, drove her over the Stanton Street Bridge into Ciudad Juarez, had a margarita where they were invented at the Kentucky Club, walked out on Avenida Juarez, past the Customs House to the Mission of Guadalupe, took it all in, realized as she was falling in love with that community, with my community, that I was falling in love with her and that it was working. This idea that we are not defined by our differences, by our divisions, that there's something so profound and powerful when we come together, when we connect. The city of El Paso, though it is a city of immigrants, is one of the safest cities in the United States of America. And it makes me want to share with everyone that actually it's not though it is a city of immigrants. I would say perhaps because it is a city of immigrants, people who willingly left their home, their family, what was comfortable to them, their culture, their language, to start anew as strangers in a strange land, to come here, yes, for themselves. They want to do better. They want their kiddos to do better as well. But they want all of us to do better too, because they were called to and inspired by this country, still the greatest nation the world has ever known. And their very presence makes us more successful. It makes us stronger. It makes us more secure. So we live this story better than anyone else from any other state. And that's why we can stand up together. Again, not divided by party or geography or any other difference. It doesn't matter in this year where this country needs us to come together. We can join together to rise up to make sure that never again is another family separated, is another child torn from the arms of her mother who traveled 2,000 miles, risking her very life to bring her here to this country because there was no other place that she could go. Though in this country today, instead of finding that safety and that salvation from a country of asylum seekers and refugees and immigrants, she finds her worst nightmare. Deported back to the very country from which she fled. That child tonight, somewhere, God only knows where, not knowing when or if she will see her mother again, though that were the decision of just one man, Donald J. Trump, in a democracy. In a democracy where the people are the government and the government is the people. Every day that this persists, it is on every single one of us. And so I think it's our opportunity, our choice, our chance to stand up and say, never again will we allow this to happen. We will reunite every child since separated, bringing their families here if necessary. But there is no other place for that child to find safety. And on this issue that we know so well, we will rewrite this country's immigration laws in our own image. We will reflect who we are our families, our communities, our experiences, what we know to be true and what we know to be good without apology, nothing to be defensive for. No walls need to be built here in this country. We can ensure that our laws reflect our values, like making sure that every single dreamer, more than 1 million strong in this country, never fear deportation because we want them citizens here in their own country, where they are just as American as anybody else. Let's now reflect that in the laws that we pass. If the challenge is criminal justice reform, in a country that imprisons more of its own than any other, a prison population disproportionately comprised of people of color, so many there serving time for possession of a substance that has been decriminalized or medicinalized or legalized in most states in the country. Imagine a veteran coming back from Afghanistan tomorrow who does not want to be prescribed an opioid to which she may become addicted in a country that lost 70,000 of our fellow Americans to drug overdose deaths just last year, wants to be prescribed medicinal cannabis. That doctor wants to prescribe it to her, but in this state today, both of them would be outlaws. Who is going to be the last person, and chances are, given who is arrested and who is doing time, who is going to be the last person of color to be locked up behind bars for possessing something that some in other states are getting perfectly rich legally selling to our fellow Americans? Who's going to be the last person who, after their release, has to check a box on an employment application form saying that they have that conviction, making it less likely that they get hired? Who's going to be the last person now denied a Pell Grant, the opportunity to better themselves through higher education so that they can do better for themselves, their family, their community, their country? I want to make sure that not only do we end a war on drugs that has become a war on people, some people more than others. I don't only want to end the prohibition on marijuana, but I want to make sure that we expunge the arrest records of every single person arrested for possession of a substance that is legal in so much of the rest of the country today. It is any of these challenges, or meeting the existential threat that this generation and every generation that follows them faces right now, we know because the scientists, we will still listen to the scientists, and God bless people who are willing to march for science 300 years after their war. But we must. Those scientists tell us if this planet warms another 1.5 degrees Celsius, that's all that stands between us and disaster. That all stands between us and not just storms in southeast Texas that'll make Harvey and its 58 inches of rain, which was the landfall record, look like a drop in the bucket. Not only will they further prolong the droughts that we feel in North Texas, in the Panhandle, and in the West, where we grow the fiber and the food that clothes and feeds not just the United States, but so much of the rest of the world. Human beings in many of these communities will no longer be able to live. But we still have time. That's the good news. We can still set the bar a little bit higher. It may not be politically convenient. It may not poll well. It may not be good for our next election. But if we focus not on those things, but the next generation, I'm confident that the ingenuity and the innovation, the can-do spirit of the people of Texas can match and overcome that bar. We can be far more responsible. We can seize the lead on renewable energy, where we are #1 in the country in a generation of wind power today, soon to be #1 in solar. In this state, where while it is not okay, it is perfectly legal to fire you for your sexual orientation. In this state, where you can be denied the ability to adopt one of the 30,000 children out of the foster care system because you are too gay, under the guise of religious liberty. In a state that sought to scare parents and people about transgender people, their fellow human beings, based on a meaningless difference for political gain, this could be the same state that stands up together to insist on the full civil rights of every single American, regardless of their orientation. I heard a call out earlier for school teachers and public educators. Those in the classroom, the therapists, the librarians, the counselors, the cafeteria workers, the school bus drivers, the custodians who are the last ones left after everyone has gone home. All of them, fundamental to the success of those kids in those classrooms, where 90% of children in America are still educated in a public school classroom. Check that out. In this really divided, highly polarized country, that may be the last place that we come together in common without distinction for your race or any other difference, your income or any other difference, who you pray to, whether you pray at all, or any other difference. It's a common conception of being American, and yet those school teachers and public school educators in the state of Texas, nearly half of them are working a second or a third job just to make ends meet. Those school teachers who out of their own pocket don't just pay for the classroom decorations, don't just pay for the school supplies, so often pay for that hot meal for that child who's on free and reduced breakfast and lunch but does not have a dinner to go home to. They are there for that child who's shown up in the same pair of clothes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That school teacher by Thursday out of her own pocket has bought a new set of clothes so that child can hold his or her head up a little bit higher, be treated with the dignity they deserve as a human being. I want to make sure that those educators who have been there for us, that we are there for them, and that we insist on a living wage so we can work on a one job, teaching to that child and not to a test. We're going to do all of these things. We're going to follow through on the very high expectations that we are setting by and for one another, because we're going to see one another not as Republicans, not as Democrats, but as Americans, as Texans, as human beings. We're going to start treating one another with the respect that we are owed inherent to the fact that we are human beings. This country began with the audacious premise that we were all created equal. We wrote those words down 242 years ago. This is the test of our lifetimes to see if they still ring true. We can put our hope, the inspiration that we provided to one another, into action. And the returns so far are very promising. 12 days of early voting, you're setting all kinds of records for a state that previously ranked 50th in voter turnout. Getting up the sidelines, getting into the game, making sure that we all decide the future of this country. But this is what I need from you. With 70, maybe 69 hours left to go, I need every single person to commit every waking minute of their life to winning this election. There is no cavalry that is going to ride to the rescue. There is no outside group upon whom we can depend. It's going to be up to every single one of us. And the TV ads, they may or may not work. I hope they do. What we post on Facebook, on Twitter, on social media, that probably helps a little bit. Nothing is as powerful or as transcendent as one human being talking to and listening to another. And in this very divided moment, in this very digital age, we can safely follow the opinions of others who come to the same conclusions that we do. Nothing is as shocking as having that knock on your door, someone that you've never met before, inviting you into this, the election of our lifetimes. They may not remember the TV ad, they may not hear the radio spot, they will never forget that you took some time out of your life and your day, and that you spent it with them. So this is the plan. And I'm being serious. If you can take Monday off of work, if you can skip your classes on that day, I promise you can make it up later. We will never get this chance, this opportunity back. And I know you feel the same way that I do. The 6th is a moment where we decide the future of this country. The 7th is the morning that we wake up, either with regret, wondering what more we could have done. We could have given another hour or two to this campaign. We could have talked to more people, given a little bit more of ourselves for this country to whom we are dedicated. Or whether we wake up with the best possible hangover we have ever had.